Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I am Morris Merriweather, the host of Straight Talk in Room 503 and the author of Enough is Enough. Public education has spiraled out of control. I thank you for joining me for another week in the class of Straight Talk. You've been very attentive, and we may be able to allow you to be exempt from the final exam because you've been present and you've been listening and you've been participating, and I appreciate that. A lot of students have not shown up for class because they don't know what the hell is going on. And frankly, I don't really think that they really care. They are just simply going around saying, we care about the children. We care about what's going on in public education. In the meantime, hundreds of kids are leaving our school system and going to private schools and surrounding counties, while we in my hometown does nothing except grin in the faces of politicians who does not give a damn about you, your family, and certainly don't give a damn about your children. But you're so ignorant, you don't understand it, so you just keep smiling. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad day. We normally start out by talking about what's going on in my hometown, because I've told you as before, the same thing that's going on in your hometown is going on in your hometown. Let me rephrase that. The same that is going on in my hometown is going on in your hometown. People are people wherever you go. How I know that? Because people from my city has moved all over the country, and people from other places have moved into my hometown. The mentality will stay the same until you change it. If you don't change it, if you left New York City and you was ignorant, when you arrive in Jackson, Tennessee, you'll be right on time with the ignorant crew. So, ladies and gentlemen, the same thing is going on. Let me begin, as I said, by talking about things going on in my hometown. This week, I am unable to bring you the results of what is going on in our school system because they was out for fall break. But this past weekend in my hometown, the NAACP, that's the National Advancement for Color People, they had a meeting and a conference, and they addressed public education. If you would be so kind and allow the professor to read you some things from our local paper here in Jackson, Tennessee. It says here, many students begin their education 50 yards behind the starting line. Now, do I need to tell you that they're not the private school student? Do I need to tell you that they're not the honor student? Do I need to tell you that they are not all people of color? Said Stone. Mr. Stone is one of the research people. John Stone is a retired professor from East Tennessee State University and president of the Education Consumers Foundation. He has partnered with President Carter, which is our president, Harold Harrell Carter, in his endeavor to improve public education in Jackson, Madison County. So, as I was saying, many students begin their education 50 yards behind the starting line, and said so. And by and large, we are doing nothing to accelerate their learning process, nor do we adjust the expectation when it comes to students suffering from poverty. The NAACP is pushing for citizens to seek a referendum to create a city school district overseen by the elected city school board and funded through a bond issue overseen by the Jackson City Council. Let me pause. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a city council that I'm not sure would be any better off if we allowed the city council to run the school system. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the county commission that are running the school system and providing funds. When I say running the school system, because we have a board of education. We have a board of education made up of 7 whites and 2 minorities. And ladies and gentlemen, we are not faring well. Our kids are still reading on 3rd grade level. So, ladies and gentlemen, that board has sit there and allowed the superintendent to hire nothing but Caucasian to run a predominantly black school system. We have sit there and allowed, not including myself and Mr. Baxter, but we have sat here and allowed the superintendent to not have African Americans in the administrative position that are power in the central office. I talked to a friend of mine who refused to go there once he lost his job as principal. He knew that he would be used because he was so smart and so brilliant that he would be used, not to make the day-to-day decision, but to provide information that they can more effectively and efficiently provide the day-to-day decision. He refused and retired. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now lost another very brilliant African-American administrator. Keep in mind that we lost Dr. June Mary, the principal of one of our high schools, because the superintendent and her and some of the good old boys and girls wanted her out because they had a gentleman that they needed to bring from out of town. And now she's suing the school system, which is going to cost my hometown and the citizens a great deal of money because one person made a bad decision. And in my hometown, just like in your hometown, we don't say nothing. We just simply allow it to happen. And so that's why people who are in elected position, they continue to do the same old thing year after year, election after election, because people in the city don't say anything. They say the religious community is not going to say anything. They're just going to preach on Sunday and let the people go home on Sunday evening. We don't have to worry about the organizations and the sororities and fraternities. They're going to be more concerned about their inner action, their inner operation. They're not going to be worried about anything. And you know that the African American community, they're not going to band together and say anything. So, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to continue to do what they want to do because you allow it to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, continuing with the article, the NAACP is pushing for a referendum, as I just recently read. We don't need a referendum. We need to make sure that the elected officials and the Board of Education do the job that they're supposed to do for all of those children. We don't need a referendum. Carter also wanted to address what he referred to as school to prison pipeline. Ladies and gentlemen, that was created by the good old boys. African Americans had nothing to do with the pipeline to prison. That was created to make money so that the good old boys could continue to build buildings, invest in the community, make a lot of money. Ladies and gentlemen, when you go across this country, the infrastructure that are being constructed in cities across this country, you will not, if you think I'm lying, when you go on vacation, you go out of town, look up and down the road work and see who is making the money. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not making the money. They're taking money from our taxes and make sure that our kids are not educated. Our buildings are not built for us. And there's a push in my hometown. Now they're quietly talking about the building of a school, high school, magnet academic school in particular. It is sitting across the street from a project, and the white kids will not come. So now, quietly, while the African American community are in church shouting and raising their hand and praising God and doing praise dances, quietly, the good old boys are right behind the church, moving on with their business, going on while we doing our business. While we got our big hats on in church and we're swearing from side to side. It's nothing wrong with praising God. But God want to know, what will you do when you take your hands down? What will you do when you close the Bible? Will you help a child get a good education? Will you make sure that the superintendent is doing their job? Will you make sure that the Board of Education is doing their job? Or will you continue to sway your hands and sing and pretend that you're a Christian? See, if you're really truly a Christian, you care about all children. You care about black, white, rich, and poor. You got a lot of them in very nice, prestigious churches. You see them in your hometown. They got them in my hometown. Just big spread. Ladies and gentlemen, they have no agenda that affects all of the people in every segment of the city. It's for their girl. Do you remember the statement I made that my white Caucasian friend said to me? I said, where are your preacher? Where are your congregation on trying to make sure the public education fare well? And he said to me, Mr. Merriweather, you are a man of integrity. You are a very smart man. And you know what the hell is going on. So I might as well not try to sugarcoat anything around you. Our congregation, majority of our students go to private schools and academies and surrounding towns. And we didn't, our congregation students, our children does not attend private school. So we're not into it. So my response to him, so basically let's cut through the chase. You're saying that your church and your leadership doesn't give a damn about what happened to all children. That's what you're saying. And you're planning on going to heaven? Ladies and gentlemen, I said to the gentleman, listen, that is why there's going to be standing room only. Now, when you get to heaven, oh, you won't be going that way, I'm sorry. When you get to hell, you won't have to be worried about segregation in private schools, white flight, because everybody will be on their flight to hell. So let me continue. Now, it says here, funds for education and funds for correction facilities are currently drawing from the same pot of money. This is deep. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. Funds for education, it's public education funds, and funds for correction facilities, that's locking their butt up, are currently drawn from the same pot of money. Carter said, as president of the NAACP. We have a choice, he said. We can build jails or we can build schools. And the good old boys have decided we're going to build jails because we can make some money. Our wives don't have to work. We can live in a nice home, drive nice cars, go play a little golf, go out of town, go have steak dinners, go get drunk. So you get my drift. All right. It is our decision as a community. We must not be afraid to have conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, I can appreciate this statement, but I'm coming to you each week and no one's saying anything about public education with me and Dr. Baxter. And so does it take a rocket scientist to figure you must be afraid, or you're ignorant and don't know what's going on, or you're fooling yourself, or you're playing games with yourself, or you're fake? I don't know, but I don't see any movement. It's not happening in my hometown, and it sure the hell is not happening in your hometown. Okay, let's continue. Let me go to the final statement here. According to the research done by Stone, for every student who failed to master reading by third grade, taxpayers are subject to what amounts to as hidden annual subtax, one that accumulates with each graduation class and has mounted for decades. He said it is rising as a result of additional local, state, and federal spending on welfare, health insurance, public safety that is absorbed by dropouts and underprepared graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, we are turning out unprepared graduates. The impact of these costs, let me go back and read it. The impact of these costs over time is, hang on, I'm just having a little time trying to read it. I guess my senior moments is coming even with my glasses on. The impact of these costs and overtime is a catastrophe. Can't get it out, said Stone. Let me just put it in my word, as the good old senior citizen board would say. We're in a hell of a lot of trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to do something different. I come to you each week trying to tell you how serious this thing is. You're spending your time shaking hands and grinning in the politician's face. Ladies and gentlemen, hollering about, we friends. I like Mr. So-and-so. Ladies and gentlemen, I like a whole lot of people, but they are not in my friend circle. If you're a part of my friend circle, you care personally about me, I care personally about you. You care about my family, I care about your family. And certainly we care about each other's children getting a quality education. but just shaking hands and grinning on the street, and then calling our African-American president Obama, and then you see Trump on TV, Mr. Trump, or you see the mayor out and you holler, Mayor so-and-so, and he calls you, hey, John, how you, Mr. Mayor? How you, Mr. Mayor? Grinning and shaking. You a darn fool. When nothing is going on in our city to make sure that all children gain a good education. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come back with breaking news. So you stay tuned, because this breaking news is going to affect you. So ladies and gentlemen, stay with me. Ladies and gentlemen, this I got from an article. Donald Trump made in his statement during the debate, listen to this. He made the statement, and I quote, African Americans are living in hell. African Americans are living in hell. Now, if Donald Trump was president today, this is what I would say to him. If we have been living in hell, how long in the hell did it take you to figure out we were living in hell? Number two, Mr. Trump, why in the hell haven't you done something by now if we've been living in hell? And you're now requesting our vote. And you know we've been in hell. But you did nothing until it was time for you to be elected. Then you want to reach out a helping hand and help the African Americans out of hell. I guess for the mere fact of voting for you. Oh, Mr. Trump, my question to you, if in the hell you lose the election, will you put the same people you helped to reach and get out of hell, would you put them back in hell now that the election is over and you have lost? So my question to you, Mr. Trump, is what in the hell are you talking about? You're quick to say, what the hell you got to lose? A lot of people going to hell, Mr. Trump. A lot of people going to hell. That's what we got to lose. Ladies and gentlemen, moving to the final session of this Straight Talk. I want to call this last session, Where is my 40 acres and a mule? Where in the hell are my 40 acres and a mule? Now, my forefathers didn't get it. My mom and my dad, they're deceased. They didn't get the horse and the mule and the 40 acres. And I just got in my safe and checked and see if I had a deed for 40 acres. I didn't find the 40 acres deed. Then I went outside and looked for my mule, and I didn't find my mule. So it sounds like since the Civil War, there's been a whole lot of promises made, kind of like Mr. Trump is making. And we have accepted that. We have come so complacent, we don't even ask any questions. We don't even show up at the meeting. We'll fake it on Sunday and show up for church. We'll get on the phone and fake it that we're friends so we can find out the latest gossip. But ladies and gentlemen, where in the hell is my mule and my 40 acres? Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. This telecast is being made on Saturday. On yesterday, Friday, Donald Trump made some statements that happened in 2005 that has now come to light. And when you are a star, Donald Trump, the next president of the good old boys, the smart guys, the politician, the GOP, living in the big homes, on the stock market, and bankers, lawyers, and the kids who are going to private school and living in the White House with the white picket fence and the BMW and two lovely kids in Fido. He is saying when you are a star, you can gloat women's, all right? Those of you, and some of you are listening to my videos each week. I know you are, because I hear some movement in the community. I know that you're talking. Some of you are my friends on Facebook. And not only that, and the superintendent in my hometown is listening, because someone has told her, tune in. He is addressing public education. And he's saying some things that really doesn't need to be said about our system. They're going to find out before we get Melinda and Todd all out to private schools. They're going to find out because Mr. Merriweather is telling the unadulterated truth. Of course, a lot of his people are not listening to him. But they may wake up before it's too late and stop us before we finish. We're trying to build a new school for our kids to return because they won't go back over there with those students. And Mr. Merriweather, we're telling them, don't buy his book. Don't listen to him. He's lost his mind. Well, if I lost my mind and I'm talking about it and you're not talking about it, well, what the hell we got to lose? Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump made some statements that were just out of this world in reference to women. Those who are voting for him, that says a whole lot about you. This is quite interesting. And this is what I want to end on this week. Let's just have a little chit chat, if you don't mind. We're going to close out the class with a little chit chat. Ladies and gentlemen, take this statement. He's talking about females. He's using the P word, and you know what that means. You wasn't born yesterday. He's saying it. This is the president of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, during the whole 2 terms of our first African-American president, he has caught hell. He's caught hell from the white community, and he's caught some hell from the black community. But ladies and gentlemen, if President Obama was caught saying the things that Trump is saying, they would be asking for his resignation, and on Monday morning, they would be trying to, in the Senate Congress, to get rid of him. They have just given this man hell. But ladies and gentlemen, you got to remember, what's done in the dark will come to the light. Donald Trump is the same man that was talking about black folks living in hell. But ladies and gentlemen, when he woke up on Friday morning, and certainly this morning, Saturday morning, he was in hell himself. I wonder how many blacks did he see down there with him. And then we have some African Americans, blacks if you like the terminology, who are in his camp. Preachers, doctors, Ben Carson. I wonder how Ben feel this morning if Donald Trump would say this about a woman of his nationality or ethnicity. What the hell would he say about your wife? Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad day when you have went to school and got a good education and you think you're more educated than me. But because of my skin color, that it doesn't matter. But ladies and gentlemen, the color of your skin will not make you intelligent. And I think Donald Trump is showing that to you. It is time now, because what's done in the dark will come to the light. It's time now for the right thing to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, catastrophe is happening all over this country. Over 20 million people fleeing. House bills on sand. And ladies and gentlemen, it's going to take a lot of tax dollars to rebuild these cities. Do you think that they're going to be spending the money now on public education? Public education is about to have another big hit. Ladies and gentlemen, this is sad that you're sitting back and allowing nothing to be going on in public education. So Donald Trump is saying things that you would have a hard time explaining. Now, let me show you one prime example. The professor. If I said to Donald Trump's daughters, and his beautiful wife, as he says. The same thing that he said about this lady and about the ladies he'd been messing with and about their breast size and about their butt size. If I said the same thing, would Donald Trump allow it? And you got Ben Carson, a brilliant man. Had him at one of the universities down here, Freed-Hardeman University, and he's supporting him. But now they're trying to distance themselves from him because they have figured out this rich man is a damn fool. And we have made ourselves a fool because we lined it up with him because he had money and he's smart and he's able to do this and that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a sad day. I'm very thankful that a great majority of African Americans did not line up with this man. We're those people that they wouldn't give us enough money to go to private school. They wouldn't improve our education system. But one thing for sure, we as a majority race, we were smart enough to not line up with Donald Trump. So what does that say about you? While you're fleeing to private school, wanting to take our money and build fine buildings for your students and your child. And while at the same time, putting the money aside to be a prison for people of color. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been my complete joy to serve as the host of Straight Talking Room 503. I hope that you will join me next week, maybe on a lighter subject. We won't have breaking news from Donald Trump. But this week we had to deal with this and pull off. But ladies and gentlemen, if you have not had a chance to purchase my book, you can go to Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Amazon, and purchase a copy. Don't expect you to do that because that would take intelligence. That would take uncertainty. You have to be assertive. You have to want to seek knowledge, want to know what's going on. I do not expect you to show up at the boardroom and be there in the school board meetings across this country because that's not a part of your character. I do not expect you to get on the phone and talk about we need to do something about public education. It's time for a revolution because that would be too smart. I think you'd rather just hang around and watch our candidate, Donald Trump, who is aspiring to be the leader of the country, talk about women's body parts, the size of women's breasts. I can gloat them. He even made the statement, I can shoot someone and my rating will still go up. This man is boastful. And you got senators, congressmen, preachers, Christian people lining up behind him. And they have not lined up behind President Obama, who has been one of the most respectful presidents that we've had. Hadn't found anything on Michelle, anything on President Obama, anything on his daughters. We can't say that for past presidents. Ladies and gentlemen, you reap what you sow. You will pay for your sins. It's time to get it right. It's praying time. Stop all of this crazy stuff and let's band together. We're all in this boat together. And we can either go to hell together or we can go to heaven together. That decision rests with you. See you next week. Perhaps we'll be on a lighter subject. If not, thank you so much for joining me. I am Morris Merriweather, your host. Straight Talk in Room 503. Take care until next week.